What up, YouTube? Welcome back to another episode of Curated Topics, brought to you by Curated Sense LLC. What's up, y'all? I know it's Wednesday. I know I said I was gonna get the video out yesterday being Tuesday. I thought that I was about to come down with a cold, though, y'all. I got home from work and I was just not really feeling it all like that. I had some other things that I had to do today, so I was like, nah, let me rest. Let me recuperate. Let me get myself be a-okay. I got home, my nose was running, all that, so I had to make sure I was good. I'm feeling much better today. I don't know if y'all can tell, but the energy is up here. I'm about to age myself again. Shout out to Mad TV. Oh my gosh, Mad TV. Keegan Michael Key, when he used to be on Mad TV, he had a skit called A Whole Nother Level. And this dude, he would say it so incorrectly, but it was always funny. I'm on a whole nother level. That used to be one of my favorite skits. I don't know why, but that's how I'm feeling right now. I'm on a whole nother level, y'all. I feel invigorated. The sleep I got, the rest I got, I needed it. So let's start the show off. Let's go. We gonna do it how we always do, y'all. Candle of the evening. And this is a new one for y'all. This one is straight from our holiday collection. This is my personal favorite from the holiday collection. I love this scent so much. This is probably one of the only like sweeter scents that I really like. And it, first of all, let's start with the bottle. I got a little bit ahead of myself. I got all this energy. I'm like flying through. But anyway, start with the bottle. The bottle is Midwest. Y'all can't read that, but it is Midwest Spirits, and this is their bourbon cream. This is the bottle. I love this bottle. It is like a porcelain white, and you can't see through it or anything, but I just think the aesthetic of this bottle is great. If you want to check it out and actually see the words and all the designs on it, check us out on Instagram. That is curated_sense_LLC on Instagram. There will be a photo of this candle up there, so check it out. I'm gonna see if I can get it just a little closer for y'all. No, oh, there we go. That worked. All right, so that's what it is. And what we got in here? Oh my god, oh my goodness. Pause. I just love how that smells. It smells so good. This what we have right here today is the chestnuts and brown sugar. That's chestnuts and brown sugar. Now, like I said before, this is my favorite of the holiday scents. You light this bad boy up around 6:30. It's already dark outside. Let's say you got family coming over and you want them to get that holiday cheer, that you can trick somebody into think you made some cookies with this right here. You know what I'm saying? They walk in, it smells like just baked goods and just, it's sweet, but it's that inviting sweet. It's lovely. So let me get into the scent description. This here is the holiday scent. It's warm, it's cozy, and it's delectably sweet. It has rich aromas from roasted chestnuts, caramel, butter, and brown sugar and vanilla. And this scent really sets the mood to get you in that holiday spirit. Like I said, you light this up, you ready to, you can cut off all the lights, turn your Christmas tree on, fireplace, whatever it is you want to do. You have this lit up and just sit there with a cup of hot cocoa or some eggnog and turn on your Christmas music. The whole vibe is set with this right here. The whole vibe is set. I'm telling you, y'all check us out, curatedsenseLLC.com. I'm telling you, get with us. I had a large order go out last week. It was 15 candles. The person ordered like 12 or 13, but I threw in some for free just because they were rocking with me. That's probably the biggest single order I've had, aside maybe from like one other order, but that's the biggest single order I've ever had. So I had to make sure to bless them right quick. And hey, y'all check us out. We are moving and grooving and growing. That's how we do over here at the channel, and that's what we're doing at Curated Sense LLC as well. So let's get right on into the topics. Let's talk about some sports. Now, I actually got asked this question from one of my subscribers. They hit me up in the background and they asked me, they said, well, actually more than one. I've had about 3 or 4 of my subscribers ask me, especially after the game this past Sunday, what I thought about Shador Sanders. How do I think he's performing so far and all of that? And I have a quick and simple answer. I think he's doing pretty well. I think he's doing pretty well, especially given the circumstances of how he got the starting quarterback job. He didn't start the year out playing. He played in preseason, he performed in preseason, and then they put him on the bench for like 8 or 9 games. I think he's only played, 3 games, and it took Dylan Gabriel getting injured with a concussion for Shador to actually get a chance to be out there with all the starters and all of that. So I think he's doing pretty well. He had a record day in terms of yardage, touchdowns, and all of that for Browns rookie quarterbacks, and I believe Browns quarterbacks in general. It was some crazy stat line where it was like no Browns quarterback had ever thrown for 300 plus yards, had 3 touchdowns and a running touchdown, something like that. Now, he did have an interception in the game. That's okay. He still has growing to do, and that's the great thing about when you're a rookie, right? When you're a rookie, there's room for improvement. He's not Tom Brady yet. Like, let's give him some grace. Let's also understand the fact that he did not start the year from the beginning. So he's really coming in and showing that he's ready, showing that he's willing to learn, showing that he is putting forth the necessary effort to do all he can to get us a win. Now, we didn't win in the last game, and I think that part of it is, came from him throwing the interception, but part of that also comes from the performance of the team. Football is not an eye sport at all. You can have one player do it all and still lose the game. So, we need to clean up our act on the other side of the ball, on defense, but especially on our special teams. They got to get it together. They gave up a whole bunch of yards, which, that's not a recipe for success. You're giving the other offense good field position. You can't have that. You cannot have that. And then I don't understand what Kevin Stefanski is doing. Somebody make it make sense. Me personally, I think he's a hater. I think he doesn't really like Shador. I think that comes from before the season even started. I don't think he really wanted Shador to be drafted in the first place. I don't know. But to me, he seems like a hater. Every time we have gone for 2, since Shador has even started, he's not on the field. I don't understand that. Not even just in the Tennessee Titans game, but in previous games, he's like running this wildcat for 2, and it worked before, so I couldn't really say much. But now it's like, man, what the hell are you doing? What is this? And then Quinshawn messed up the play because he didn't hand it off. Why are we running trick plays for the game anyway? Like, what? I don't understand that. That makes no sense. Hit him with the Russell Westbrook. What? I don't know. I don't know what they got going on, but I'm hoping that we see something. He's been named the starter for the rest of the year, which I think he earned. I think he's outperforming Dylan Gabriel, even when Gabriel was healthy. I think the ways that we can run our plays, the way we can have a more dynamic offense with Shador on the field, and I'm just here for it. I like it. So finish out the year, brother. Keep performing. I hope you're here next year. That's how I feel. I think he is doing very well. I also think that if we were able to get some more weapons for him, like some real weapons, like some real deep ball threats and things like that, oh man, it'd be lovely, because he has great touch on the ball. He has outstanding touch when it comes to throwing the ball. That's probably the most impressive thing that I saw from him. He has a great touch on the ball. He had a couple where he overthrew some guys. He had a couple where maybe the ball got away from him a little bit. But on those throws where, they resulted in big plays, he had amazing touch on the ball. So that's what I want to see moving forward. I want to see them take some more chances, because before we couldn't take any chances with throwing the ball down the field. But now we have the ability to take a couple of shots downfield. So I want to see that more from the Browns. I hope they keep on going. Let's move on to the Cavs. Now, one person asked me about the Cavs and how I thought they were doing. And to be quite honest, they're having an okay season right now. I think they're in like 6th place in the East, which is not where anyone thought they would be. We definitely thought they'd be in like the top 3, if not top 2. A lot of people were counting teams like Boston out and the Raptors and all of that. And I mean, it's still early in the season, but we have to perform better. I think us being plagued by injuries is playing a big part of that. But also, you're starting to see that those postseason trades from last year were not good trades. They just were not good trades. I like the pickup of Lonzo Ball because he's able to be another playmaker. He pushes the ball. He's more like a true point guard. But we missed Ty Jerome. Ty Jerome brought scoring, and he took some of that pressure off of Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland so that they could just kind of relax and do their thing when needed. I also think that losing Okoro was bad. He was our best perimeter defender, and that is lacking very much right now. I always said that we needed some backup big guys to be on the court, and I still stand behind that. But going and getting Larry Nance Jr., I know he started here or he spent time here before. I know his father was here. I don't like that move either. And here's why. So I actually went to a game, and I want to say this was the game against the Raptors when they played here. I watched Larry Nance go 0 for 8 before making a single shot, and all 8 shots were like threes. No way he should be taking. First of all, why is he taking 8 to 10 shots, period? Second of all, why is he taking 8 threes? He's 6'11". Go down in the paint, bro. What you doing? And then down in the paint, he's not like big enough. Pause. Like, he was getting pushed around down there. I don't like it. I don't think we utilized Jared Allen correctly, and that goes all the way back to last year when we had him guarding Halliburton in the playoffs. We had him guarding Tyrese Halliburton in the play, a center. Now, I had this discussion with one of my friends over the weekend. He was like, well, no, Jared Allen's just soft. No, Jared Allen, I disagree. Jared Allen is not soft. He's not soft. Now, he's not the biggest center in the league, but he ain't soft. He could stand to put a couple pounds on. Pause. He could stand to put a couple pounds on. All right, so we put him in the gym. He is still a great defender, usually getting multiple blocks per game. But we have gone into this system where we think, oh, we can just switch everything. I know that's the trend around the league. We don't need to be doing that. He is a traditional center. He's not some guy who's, super laterally quick or anything like that. Leave him down there in the post to be a rim protector. There is no way he should be trying to guard Tyrese Halliburton. Not never. And that leads me to my next point. Why are we trying to switch everything? Why? Just because one team that doesn't mean we have to do it. Why are we trying to switch everything? This is how he got burnt in the playoffs last year. Why do you have a center guarding a point guard? Never has that been a thing. Unless you just like Wemby. But Wemby he's quick enough, long enough, pause, and agile enough to maybe do that, and he still might get burnt. Look in the old days. You ain't never seen Shaq guarding Allen Iverson. You ain't never seen Patrick Ewing trying to guard Mark Jackson. You ain't never seen none of that. So why do you have a center? And I mean, they didn't switch back or nothing. You had Jared Allen trying to guard Tyrese Halliburton. I know it's a new season, but we are still doing some of those same things. And I'm sitting at the game like, what are you doing? Why is this happening like this? Yeah, Mobley is athletic, but why use him to where he is at an advantage, which is down low in the post? Why are you trying to use him to guard people at the perimeter? He is not Giannis. As much as we want him to be Giannis and bring the ball up like Giannis, he ain't Giannis, bro. He can't lower his shoulder like that and just get to the rim. Not on everybody. like Giannis can. He's not Giannis. We should be using him more like a Kevin Garnett. Kevin Garnett had that sweet mid-range jumper, and he would defend in the low post. That's all we need. Mobley could average 28 to 30 points per game just doing that. But we living and dying by the three-pointer, all that. When these guys go cold, they are ice cold. They ain't making nothing from three. Bring back the mid-range game, and I'm going to stand on that. Bring back the mid-range game. Donovan is playing well. Donovan is the best shooting guard in the league right now. He is the best shooting guard in the league right now. My only question is, does he require the ball a little too much? When I see Donovan on the court, it looks kind of like, okay, Donovan has the ball and the rest of our team are spectators. And if he can't get something going, that's when it's like, okay, you can pass it over to us. What happened to running plays? What happened to a guy dribbling down the court and then he do this, and that means we're going to run that play? I don't really see that as much. And maybe it's just a league thing. Maybe it's trying to be more free flowing. Maybe, I don't know. But Donovan can't just be the one man show and we expect to get anywhere. We see what that has done for us in the playoffs, especially these last 2 years. We need other guys to show up and perform. We need to be able to answer some of these questions. Why are we switching everything? Does he have the ball a little too much? Should we be passing it more? How can we utilize Jared Allen better? And all these questions will be answered on the next episode of Dragon Ball Z. All right, y'all. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and then we're going to get into the motivational piece. Did he say commercial break? I did. We got commercials now, y'all. This is something... It's not going to be one of them like YouTube ads. This is actually something from someone who I met down at the Power of Networking experience. I told them that I liked what they were doing and I was willing to throw it into the video. So y'all check it out.
We've run over 16,000 people through our Red Line Challenge, and on average, people lose 4 pounds in 5 days without ever being hungry. It's very simple. I put all foods on this big chart. I drew a red line right here. Simply eat the foods below the red line for 5 days and watch what happens to your blood pressure. Watch what happens to your glucose. Watch what happens to your weight. If you want to lose weight, if you want to reverse type 2 diabetes, if you want to reverse your heart disease, it's very simple. Join my Red Line Challenge.
All right. So how did y'all like that video? You tell me. Is that a good commercial to have? I know I got to pause. Hey, bro got to put a shirt on. He embarrassing us all over here. You got to put a shirt on, bruh. No, I'm just playing. But these are one of the people that I met during the Power of Networking experience. I also met them in the class held with Dr. Frazier. And this is just an example of how networking can help you, but also how you can be helpful and valuable to others out there. So I met this person and we connected and networked, and I told him, hey man, I'm gonna throw the video in my next video. I might throw it in the next couple just to help push what he has going out there. So then, maybe if I need something, he'd be willing to help me out. All these things, you see, all these things, you have to be able to present your value to somebody else for them to even think about helping you out. That's the key to success, but that's the key to establishing good relationships. So this motivational piece is going to continue on in the networking series. This particular video, we're going to talk about networking, but we're going to talk about networking when it comes to networking with new people. I'm going to do a quick recap. In my first networking video that I put out, I just kind of talked about the benefits of networking, how it can create leads for you, both personally and professionally, how you can gain mentors, you can increase your value, but how you can also add value to others. You connect people together, you can be a lead for someone else's business, and you can be the mentor. In my last video, I talked about networking and how the fortune is in the follow-up. I'm not going to go into that too much. I'm going to leave that for y'all. If you haven't seen the last video, go and check it out. But in today's topic, we're going to talk about networking with new people. Networking with new people. Now, how do you do that? First of all, you accomplish that by going to an event. Go to some sort of networking event, whether it be a mixer, whether it be some event at like a charitable event, or any place where people are going to gather and you'll have the opportunity to talk to them. Now, when you know that you're about to go to an event, what do you do? Well, the very first thing you should do is, unless it's a party, arrive early. Arrive early. Most of the time, the people who you want to meet, and this is especially when it's somebody you want to meet, but most of the time, those people are going to be there early, especially if they're the host of the event or they're the speaker at the event. You want to be there early. Why is that? Because then you get a chance to meet them when they're not in front of everybody else. You get a chance to meet them when they are not in front of everybody else. You want to show up early. And I heard this has been confirmed by Dr. Frazier. He told us a story about when he met Colin Powell, who was someone he looked up to. And he told us about how he showed up almost an hour early, where Colin Powell was the speaker and he was with some other speakers, and he went and sat at the table next to them, and Colin Powell actually asked would he come over to their table because he saw him sitting by himself. So he came over and he said, yeah, I'll come over. And he spoke, and then they connected that way. You want to arrive early because the person that you're trying to meet, or the people that you're trying to meet, they will notice that you're there early. They will notice that you're there early. That's going to make them remember you. Not only that, you'll get the opportunity to be in front of them before everybody else. So you get a chance to make your mark on them before they can be overwhelmed with all the other people who are there. People remember the person who shows up early in a positive way. They take you more seriously. They're willing to listen to what it is that you have to say, and you get the opportunity to present yourself and your value to them. Now, here's the other thing about showing up early. When you show up early, you get to know the people who are running the event. Take that as that opportunity to get to know the people who are running the event. Even if it seems like they're just small staff or something like that, you'll be able to talk to them, get a connection with them, and then you never know what kind of doors they can let you through. Let me give you an example. When I was at the Power of Networking, I had a general admission ticket. General admission, I didn't have the money to pay for all the VIP stuff and all of that, but I showed up early. I talked to the check-in people early. I talked to some of the other workers early. They all noticed I was there early, so they were all willing to help me. Hey, we noticed you've been here waiting, or is everything all right and this and that? Yes, I'm just waiting to register. I showed up early. This is who I am, blah, blah, blah. We get to talking, and then all throughout the conference, they remembered who I was, so they came up to me. They telling me, oh, well, such and such is over here. If you want to catch him at this time, you should go and talk to him right now. Such and such is about to be here. When it came time to seeing Dr. Frazier again, oh, Dr. Frazier's about to arrive. I know you said you were waiting on him, but he's about to be here, so he'll be in this side. That helped set me up for success. So it's not, oh, well, they're just the little workers, don't pay them any mind. No, you get to know them. Show up early, talk to them. They can give you the inside scoop on who is who, where they're going to be, how you talk to them, what is it that they like, what is it that they need, and then you are able to inject yourself into those situations and make your mark on them, make them remember who you are. Now, on the other side of that, do not show up late. Don't show up late, because people notice the people who show up late as well. And the thing about that is not always a good thing. Being noticed is not always a good thing. You don't want to be noticed for showing up late, because they're not taking you seriously at that point. You're wasting their time because you didn't show up early. You didn't even show up on time. But also, it's just not a good look on you. It doesn't come off as serious. Now, things happen. There are reasons why people show up late, all of that. But you don't want to be known for arriving places late. Now, with certain events and things like that, there's always a window of time. But when it's something where it's like you need to be prompt, just show up early, especially if you're trying to meet people. Now, what's the next thing you should do? Have what's called an elevator pitch ready. Now, an elevator pitch, the idea behind that is two people get on the elevator, right? So two people get on the elevator. Let's say I get on the elevator with somebody I want to talk to. Well, I have until the elevator gets to whatever floor we're going to introduce myself and tell them about who I am and what it is that I do. That's an elevator pitch. So you've got about 30 to 60 seconds to introduce yourself and tell them who you are, what you do, and how you can add value. And in that 30 to 60 seconds, they have to be able to quickly digest your words and understand what it is that you're trying to convey. They need to understand what it is you have to offer, your value, all of that in that 30 to 60 seconds. And you want to leave them enough time to ask any sort of follow-up questions and get your phone number. So it really should be like 30 to 45 seconds. Develop a skill where you can talk about who you are inside of a minute. We are dealing with different attention spans in these days. Lots of people are hooked on the short form content, all of those things. So you have to be ready with your stuff. Develop an elevator pitch. Hi, my name is such and such. I do this thing. I do this. Here's how we're valuable. Here's a problem that most people face, and here's how we are the solution. Boom. And then you leave it open for them to ask any follow-up questions, and you keep it pushing. Now, what's next? Now, this one comes directly from Dr. Frazier. When there's somebody who you want to talk to or who you want to meet, know who they are. Know who they are before you go to meet them. So let's say I'm at a networking event. I knew that I wanted to meet Dr. Frazier. I wanted to talk to him again because the first time I met him, I just met him and we played golf and I didn't really know who he was. And then I see him online everywhere. I mean, he's popping up in my YouTube. He's popping up on my Instagram. He's popping up in my Google. And I'm like, I just met the dude. I didn't know who he was. So now that I know who he is, I'm really trying to meet him. Hey, I'm trying to meet him. Know who you want to talk to. Know something about them. When I was in class with him, we were talking and having a chat and things like that. And I was talking to him and we were talking about things. And I could tell he didn't remember who I was. He didn't remember who I was at all. So what did I do then? Well, in order to make myself stand out, when I met him down in Atlanta, I brought a whole picture that we took together so that it would stand out to him and he would remember who I was. So when I first met him, hi, Dr. Frazier, good to see you again in person this time. He said, this time? I said, oh yeah, well, my name is Brian. I was in your class and I came on down here. Oh yeah, you were in my class. That's right. He kind of said it like he vaguely remembered who I was. Maybe he remembered my face a little bit, but not all the way. And then I said, oh yeah, and by the way, I was the guy who asked you the golf question. Now I've injected something that I know about him. And it clicked. You were, oh yeah, I remember you. That's exactly what he did. He even pointed just like that. I remember you. How did you know I played golf? Oh, how did I know you played golf, you say? And then I pulled out my phone. Boom, here is the picture from when we played golf together in a tournament. You were on my team. He said, hey, look, that's me. And that's you. You were the guy who could hit the ball so far. I said, yep. When you have those sorts of things, when you know something about the person who you want to meet, it sparks in their brain. Now they remember you. Now they won't forget what you're talking about. When you go to ask them for help or when you go to connect with them, they're not going to forget you at all now. He's not going to forget me at all now. I'm going to stick out in his brain. Why? We took a photo together. We have a memory together. So now he can say, Brian, yeah, I know him. That's the guy who hits the golf ball so far. He also told me about this. He told me about his business. He told me about his YouTube channel. All that stuff is going to build on each other. When you know something about the person who you're trying to meet, just like I said, it makes you stand out to them. It also shows that you did your homework on them. It sparks them to take you more seriously. And then show your usefulness. Show your usefulness. Find something that they need, even if it's small. Hey, can I get you a tea? Can I get you a water? Can I get you a coffee? Do something small to show your usefulness to them, but it's important because that depicts your value to them. You are showing that you are of some sort of value to them, and therefore they need to have you around. These are the kinds of things that are going to help you when it comes to successfully networking. Now, let's talk about when you're meeting people who you don't know, because this is what's going to happen more oftentimes than not. Most of the time, if you're at like a networking event, there's going to be 1, 2, maybe 3 people who you're like, oh yeah, I want to meet them. But what about the people who you don't know? The people who are there who you don't know who's going to be there. They weren't announced, or they're not, one of the special guests. What about the special guests who you don't know? I met plenty of those at the Power of Networking experience. So what do you do when you come across them? The very first thing you do is show interest in them. Find something where you all share interests, but also find something about them that interests you where you can ask them follow-up questions. You want to be able to ask them follow-up questions about the information that they shared, because that causes them to share more. I'll give you an example. When I met Dr. Leith, now this is one of the people who I met by arriving early. I arrived early for the registration day. We both were standing there just kind of waiting, and he asked me, oh, hey brother, do you happen to work here, or what's going on? Do you know what's happening with the registration? I said, no, I don't work here. I'm also waiting. I arrived a little bit early, so I've just been kind of hanging out. We're waiting on them to finish setting up, or so they have told me, and we sparked up conversation. He asked me what I did. I told him, and he said, oh, well, I have a brother-in-law who's looking to get students into his school and this and that. I said, that's perfect. That goes right along with what I do. I also shared with him some of my other personal experiences, how, my journey to getting to college and how I was a non-traditional college student. He then went on to ask me if I was writing a book. I said, well, I've been thinking about it. I haven't started yet. Then next thing you know, he's reaching into his bag to hand me his book, because he actually asked me follow-up questions. I didn't even ask him. I asked him once he brought the book out. Once he brought the book out, oh, okay, you've written a book. Well, how did you know when to get started? How did you know when to get started? What prompted you to start? How much experience would you suggest that someone has based upon what they want to write before they get started? You let the conversation flow, but you have follow-up questions, because that sparks more conversation. And then you have more points. I'm doing this on my desk. You have more points to connect. You have more points in which you can connect with someone when you are letting the conversation flow and you're asking those follow-up questions. Which leads me into the next thing, where find a connection. Find some way to connect with the people who you don't know, even if it's based on personal interests and not necessarily your professional ones. I met somebody else there. His name is Mr. Oliver. Now, this was the first person I met on the actual day of the Power of Networking experience. He was over at a booth in the vendor section. I went over to the vendor section because I signed up for a free interview. So I went over to do the interview, and somebody else was interviewing before me. So they said, hey, give us about 5-10 minutes. Feel free to check out the other vendors. We'll call you over when it's your time. All right, cool. So I'm looking around, and I go and I look at his table, and I actually stopped at his table because I saw that he had some books about the college going journey and things like that sitting on his table. So I was like, hey, can you tell me about these books? And he was like, actually, those books were written by my wife. It sparked a whole conversation. I said, oh, well, that's really interesting. I told him about the work that I do because that's kind of related to my job. And then I told him how I was a non-traditional college going student, and we bonded over that. Then the next thing you know, he asked me, well, where are you from? I told him I'm from Cleveland. He said, oh my God, I am too. Now we bonded over that. So you see how finding one connection led to a bunch of others. He asked me where I went to school. I told him where I went to school. Me and my wife worked there for almost 10 years apiece. I couldn't make this stuff up even if I tried. We started connecting in so many different areas. Then he started to tell me about what he does. We didn't even talk about what he did for the first 5-10 minutes. He started to tell me about what he does, and it opened up some other opportunities for me. He invited me to come to his men's group meetings, and they meet on Sundays. It's called First Sundays, by the way. He wanted to connect me with his wife so that she and I could talk, and that turned into another opportunity for me. Y'all be on the lookout. I'm going to let y'all know once it's more underway and complete. But we were able to connect in so many different ways and through so many different topics, professionally and personally. We were like, we have to connect. But that's the important thing about networking. That's the key right there. Find a single connection and let it lead to others. One more example. When I connected with Vince, who you all saw in the commercial video, we connected in Dr. Frazier's class. This is the guy who, Dr. Frazier put me in charge of making sure he writes a book. But also, we connected during the Power of Networking experience because we actually sat and talked about what it is that we both do. Now, he told me about, reversing the chronic diseases by using nutrition. I come from a science background. I said, hey man, I've taken plenty of science courses and things like that. I'd love to be able to share with you some of my notes, some of my coursework and things like that, where you can use this to incorporate it into your nutrition course. He said, oh, okay, cool. So now I've offered up some of my own expertise and used that to connect with him. And then as I met other people who were in the scientific space, I shared his information with them. I met a doctor and they were looking to use more holistic approaches to dealing with chronic disease. I said, oh, well, I just met this guy who's doing that. He runs a whole challenge doing it with nutrition. Would you mind if I connect you all? Oh no, we'd love to meet him. I called up Vince, had him come down to where I was. He met him, and then they started their own conversation. So now I'm connecting not only myself, but somebody else with somebody else. Now we're becoming a real network. This is how you have to do with these sorts of things. All these examples came from being able to connect with people that I met by continuing the conversation, asking follow-up questions. I didn't know these people when I first met them, but by me being open, by me being observant, by me listening to what it is that they had to say, and then using that to tie in my own interests, my own expertise, now we're all connected. Now what's my next point? My next point kind of comes from the last one. You have to be prepared to share. You have to prepare to share. Get up out of your comfort zone. Get up out of your shell. And don't be afraid to share who you are and what you do. You are going to be your biggest advocate for yourself, and you're going to be your biggest example of what your value is. And you can't be afraid to share that with the people that you meet. It's one thing to be shy. It's another thing to be standoffish or timid. You can't just be, I know we're not all the most assertive. I'm not the most assertive all the time. I'm not the type of guy who, hey, how you doing? That's not me. That's not me. I have a more gravitational aura, so I try to get people to come to me. Pause. But once we start talking, once we engage with each other, I'm trying to make things flow. I'm trying to make those connections. I am not going to be the type of person where you talk to me and I'm just, Oh, okay. Yeah, that's cool. I'd have to be in a real jacked up mood to be that way. You're going to tell me something, I'm going to say, oh, that's interesting. Tell me about A, B, and C. Or I heard that you're interested in this. That aligns with my interest in these things. Let's connect them. Let me share with you. You share with me. Let's be of value to each other. And that's how you have to be when you're trying to successfully network. Don't be afraid to share who you are with the people you meet. They may have ways to help you. They may share those similar interests or passions or even personal hobbies. When I was in the First Sunday group, I talked about just who I was. I did my quick 30, 60-second elevator speech. Hi, my name is Brian. Thank you all for inviting me to come. I love what you all are doing here. Let me tell you a little bit about myself. Told them what it is that I do. Told them about the YouTube channel. Told them about the candle business. And before the end of the meeting, I had a sale. Shout out to the person who checked out my website and actually bought something, and they followed me on Instagram. But before the end of the meeting, I had a sale. So just because I wasn't scared to put myself out there, and I mean, I was nervous at first. I was nervous at first. I was in a room full of people. I had only met one or two people there before. But then once I came into the room, once I started talking, there were a couple of other people. Oh, you were at the Power of Networking? I was there too. I didn't see you there, but glad you're here. Those are the types of things. Because we had similar interests, because we were in similar spaces, it made people comfortable with connecting with me. I used those connections to help me, and they are willing to help me because I presented some sort of value. I presented some sort of value to them. So use your connections and use the ones that you make with other people. That's going to be your second biggest advocate. When somebody can vouch for you and somebody can say, oh yeah, I know that's a good guy. I'm gonna use Vince again for an example. When I did introduce Vince to the other doctor that I met, he came over, shook my hand, almost gave me a hug. He said, yeah, this brother right here, I just met him, but this is a great brother right here. He's been texting me and calling me and letting me know of all these people who I need to get in touch with. It was no big thing for me because here it is. I'm like, well, I heard what they were talking about. I heard what you were talking about, and they're very much in alignment. So naturally, I'm like, hey, y'all need to get together. I didn't do it, for any other reason other than to connect somebody else who's doing good work with somebody else who's doing good work. But simply by him walking up and saying, oh, this is a good brother, he's looking out for me, thank you, that adds validity to my value and to who I am. So now, even in the other doctor's eyes, he can say, okay, this guy wasn't just talking when he said he had somebody he wanted me to meet. This is how you use your connections to help you. This is the key to successful networking. And if you can follow these, I promise your network will grow, but you'll also see more value from your network. So that's all we got for today on the motivational piece. We're going to move on to the music. I know this was a long one, but thank y'all for bearing with me. All right, album of the week. And this album is pretty special. It's pretty special because this album comes from my Apple Music wrap up. This is the album I listened to the most in 2025. Then the album is, I might have talked about this album too before, but the album is Life is Beautiful by Larry June and 2 Chainz. Now, I just want to talk about this album right quick. This album is it's straight chill music. It's something I can ride to in the car. And that's kind of what I prefer when I'm listening to music. Like the standard is just nice, balanced, chill type of vibe music. Something where I can sit and relax. I can also play it with a little shorty if I want to, or I can just vibe out to it. It's all just kind of, I don't need to be too up here or too down here. It's just cool and it's calming, it's relaxing, and I can just chill and ride. Now, who knew that Larry June and 2 Chainz would make such a good pairing on an album? Who knew? That was not on my bingo card. I did not expect Larry June and 2 Chainz to go so well together, but for some reason they do. Maybe it's the Alchemist beats. He did a really good job on these beats, by the way. Shout out to the Alchemist. But this album was so fired. I think that it should have been nominated as one of the best rap albums of the year. I don't remember if it was or not, but this album was great. Straight from start to finish. I really enjoyed it. Some of my favorite songs: LLC, Epiphany, and then Life is Beautiful. And actually, Life is Beautiful has one of my favorite little one-liners, and it's kind of the theme for this channel. And it goes like this. It's by 2 Chainz. Real short. I don't gatekeep. I want everybody to eat. That's how we are doing it over here at this channel. I'm not trying to gatekeep any information from anybody. I want us all to be successful. I want us all to eat out here, including myself. I want a full plate for me. Y'all see how big I am? Pause. Brother likes to eat, so I am trying to get the information out there. I want to be able to put more motivation out there, more things that people can relate to, more information that people can use to help them be more successful and to be better. Like I always say, we building each other up out here. That's men, that's women, that's everybody. So I hope that you all can relate to this. I hope that it helps you in some way. And let's keep on keeping on. I want everybody to be successful. I want you all to do well. And I want to thank you all for listening. Thank you to my regular listeners. If you're new, thank you for checking us out. I appreciate all the feedback that I've been receiving, whether that's the comments, whether that's the likes, whether that's the stuff in the background. I want to say thank you to all my subscribers. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. We building each other up over here, y'all. And as I always say, I'll catch y'all on the next one.